Yes, sir. Back at it. One time. Man, so you ever been called something that made you rethink, kind of everything you had going on? And it's crazy. Crazy how that one name could change everything you got moving and what you think you're up to, and make you switch up everything. And, not just a name, but something that made you move different, think different, come different. Kind of what happened to me a few years ago. I was coming out of one of my favorite joints downtown Portland. My guy Millennium was coming in the building. This is before he did my show, before he came on my show. He's like, "Man, you the podcast guy?" I said, "Man, I'm trying to, what's up, bro? Can I get on?" Nigga had just moved to, I don't know if he just moved, but he had been in Houston for a minute. But he'd be back and forth. But he's like, my guy Millennium always had some kind of movement going on. So shout out to Millennium. I don't even know if he know, but he the one initially pushed me to switch everything up. And that's when I became the Thorn City podcast guy. So yeah, man, shout out to my guy Millennium down there in Houston, Texas, mate. Repping the town. He told me before he came on my show, when he come on, he's usually the most viewed. And boy, he wasn't lying. So I think he's still, to this day, got the most views on YouTube on my Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight show. So shout out to my guy Millennium. But yeah, man, most folks know me as Naeem, but they don't really know how I got to where I'm at now. What pushed me to get here, where it came from, and kind of what shaped me to what I got going on today. Thorn City podcast guy. So I'm getting heavy into this YouTube channel. Made me rethink everything. So I done dove into YouTube University. I found a couple guys, give me some pointers on what to do, what not to do. And I found one particular channel that I really appreciated how he broke it down into a campfire theory. I'll probably get more into that at a later video. But it really got me down this YouTube rabbit hole, and so here we are. This is going to be a vlog series. Somebody else that I found on YouTube that sparked some interest. It made me start testing out some ideas. The first idea was what he said: I worked 2 jobs and I hate it. So I went and checked. There was a bunch of videos of people talking about I worked X amount of jobs and I hate it, and a lot of those videos was getting a lot of views. So I started doing a couple of those videos here driving in the car. I didn't get quite as many views as those other people was getting. So I'm like, damn, what the hell? That didn't work. That didn't really work. So I dove deeper into the rabbit hole. And that's when I found the other guy talking about the campfire theory. And he led me to tapping in with vidIQ. Maybe I'll get into a vidIQ review video at some point. As I get deeper into the different types of content creation we're gonna be making here on this channel. So when I got into vidIQ, they have some lessons to send you through, from nothing to something. Basically, is what I'm gonna call it. So I've been doing that. So yeah, that was a bad Lyft ride. If y'all checked out my trailer, y'all know I'll be riding around in the trap, this Uber, Lyft, DoorDash trap. So that was a Lyft ride coming through. They wanted me to drive 2 minutes and then drop them off 5 minutes. That don't work for me. That's too short and too far of a distance at the same time, if that makes sense. If you ain't in the business, that don't make sense probably. But yeah, it was too short and too short and too long. No, I did that wrong. That was too short and too long. Yeah. I don't know. What was I saying? So this is I'll start testing out the videos, the vlog series. And like I said, I didn't necessarily get the views that they was getting, but the more and more videos I posted, I definitely start seeing views triculate, you know. So I was getting some views. I had a couple. So they said when you see something work, you know you're onto something. So kind of, you know, stick with that. And so this is the vlog series. And so this one's all about Thorn City Podcast Guy, how I became Thorn City Podcast Guy, Thorn City Spotlight Show, where I'm at in the journey. So the Thorn City Spotlight Show is the name of the channel. It used to be the Thorn City Podcast Guy channel. Now we're the Thorn City Spotlight Show. So here's how it all happened. It all started about 10, 11 years ago. Helping my bro get right. Third twin, Gemini the third twin, Roy Moore the third. And it really started out with me just wanting some music of his for my own personal. Bro was going through some pain. It was rough. So like I said, I couldn't let my guy go out like that. So me and my bro Third, we came up with Thorn City Syndicate. It's gritty, it's real, it's full of pain and beauty all at once. It's a play off of the Rose City. You know, the Roses, Portland is Rose City. Everybody says Rose City. My partner DVS, Micah, DVS Prestige, said it in a rap one time before. He said Thorn City. I think that's where Third got it from. So shout out to DVS. I think we jacked you, brother. Or Third got you. He brung it to me, and we put, you know, he said Thorn City, and we put the syndicate on it. And that's how I seen the work I was starting to get into. Fast forward, I start producing podcasts and helping other people tell their story. So that's when I came up with my show, the Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show. And they say you got to figure out, first thing when you're doing the podcast is you got to figure out your why. So my why was, like I said, what can I do for my business, our business, his business? So networking for me. Like I said, we in the trap. That's an Uber coming through. I'll be back.
Thanks again.
You're welcome. So yeah, as you can see, I'm out here riding in the trap. Thorn City Podcast Guy out here. But yeah, man, so came up with the Thorn City Spotlight Show, Thorn City Syndicate Spotlight Show. And I had to figure out how I was going to get myself to do this. Because I'm always been behind the scenes. I'm a quiet person, behind the scenes, handling business behind the scenes. I've never been one to want to get out in front of the camera and open up and talk about me or what I'm gonna. I've never been good about talking about myself. So I'm like, damn, how am I going to pull off this podcast? So came out with my alter ego, Thorn City Podcast Guy. So I took my guy Millennium. He said, "You're the podcast guy. Aren't you the podcast guy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm the podcast guy. I'm doing the podcasts. I'm helping people launch and learning the stuff about podcasts." So Thorn City Podcast Guy went with the Thorn City Syndicate and the Podcast Guy Show. And so I came up with Thorn City Podcast Guy. So that was going to be my way of talking about me without talking about me. And so that was the other first thing you got to do. is you got to your avatar. Who's your listener? Who you talking to? So for me, it's people like me. I'm looking for people like me out here grinding, juggling multiple hustles, multiple plays, trying to make it happen. The grind is tough. This entrepreneur journey is not for everybody. It's really not. I don't even know what to tell you. I'm tired. I can't even lie to you. I am tired. So, what am I tired of? Get a quick shot leaving downtown Portland. I'm tired of everything. Sum it all up. But yeah, I got time to quit. I came too far. 2014, I'm 11 years in May. May 15th will be 11 years in this entrepreneurial journey. That'll be the day I quit my job. I worked for 8 years. I was a custodian out at Reed College. My mom worked at Reed College since I was 9 months old. She retired a few years ago. She retired a year or two after I left. But yeah, so I gave that up. So yeah, the podcast guy, man. I was like, how am I gonna do this? So yeah, I came up with that. That's what we're talking about. Niching. I've always had a hard time, since I've always done a lot. Always hitting this. I think that's another problem a lot of people have, which was one of my biggest problems. Is what's your niche? So my niche is helping people. When it boils down to it, I like to help people. I like to see people start from nothing and help them, go from idea to motherfucking putting it together and actually seeing some fruits of the labor. So that's where we're getting. My guy had the idea of getting into podcasting. He seen what I was doing for the Third Twin brand. So he hit me and said, "The podcasting, and do for me what you did for Third." So the Third Twin brand is now what I'm doing with the Gaddis Motion Productions, which is the GMP and the GMP podcast group. The GMP stands for Gaddis Motion Productions, so that's where that came from. A lot of people don't know that. And a lot of people don't know Thorn City is Portland because of the Rose City. Everybody say Rose City. Couldn't say Rose City Syndicate, no. So Thorn City Syndicate, it's not the mob. I know Syndicate is attached with mob views, but it's not the mob. It just means business. Syndication, syndicate, has a lot of meanings. But for our purposes, it meant business. So, man, so not only was I becoming the Thorn City podcast guy, people starting to call me for podcast questions. How do they get into podcasting? How can they come up with a show? And so, really been building this movement from scratch. And so once I start getting calls and people reaching out to me saying, "I see your show. I see what you're doing. Good job." That's tight. So you like to see, it's always good to when you see your vision start coming to life and start seeing people start reacting to it. And that's my other problem, and I'm trying to get into this YouTube to figure it out. And I'm starting to figure out why. But I know a lot of people in town. I ain't gonna say I'm the most popular, but I know some popular people. I was real cool with some popular people. So out of all the people you be knowing, you would think, but that ain't how it works. You would think you would get more interaction and views and likes and shares from the stuff you post on social media, but that ain't how it goes. So you really need to tap into the strangers who don't really know you. That's where you're going to get most of your support from, to be honest with you. It's crazy that it is that way, but it really is. So that's why when I start doing my YouTube stuff, I ain't really tell nobody. I just start doing it because I wanted to see the real organic. See if it was really organically starting to, build up slowly but surely. Like when you start a campfire, get that initial flame going, and it grows and grows and grows, and then you just gotta find the oxygen to keep it going. And so that's what the YouTube's about. It's finding that your niche audience, your people you're speaking to. You gotta be passionate. So passion for me is helping people and launching projects from scratch and managing shit. I'm a damn good manager. Not only that, I was becoming a podcast guy. People would call me when they needed help launching a podcast, had questions about a podcast. So it kind of created a whole wave, and the business is what it is. GMP Podcast Group, GMP Podcast Group Studios. Got some folks watching, I believe. So really need to start putting together a network of shows, man. So if I can get a bunch of people to come through and do live shows like the one I'm getting ready to start doing, or I started doing, I can really get it in for a cheap rate. So that's coming. The Thorn City Podcast Guys special. You just show up, come prepared. You only got an hour. And knock your show out, man. And there will be no editing unless you pay for an add-on upgrade, but you don't really need it. People like the raw, real, and uncut and unfiltered these days, but you do want to be prepared. And it's nothing worse than not being prepared for a show, not knowing what you're going to talk about. You and your guests not being on the same page, not knowing what questions is coming. Not necessarily what questions is coming, but the topics. So yeah, just come in prepared. Come in, we stream the show live and we knock it out. Or you don't have to stream it live. We can just record it for an hour, but you don't get no post-production. That's where the heavy fees come in, that editing. And if you want to do it yourself, I can show you how to do it. I'll probably do a CapCut tutorial at some point, because that's what I use. When I started doing my podcast, I became my editor after the first season, I think. So yeah, I'm Naeem Hall, Thorn City Podcast Guy. Thorn City Podcast Guy allowed me to, like I said, open up and really put myself out there without thinking too much and getting in my head and getting in my own way. I'm my own worst critic and enemy sometimes. Stop me from doing what I need to be doing when I need to be doing it. But creating the alter ego of Thorn City Podcast Guy allowed me to bring that version of me out and bring it to you guys. There's a lift. We are in the trap, so we will get back. Japanese garden or rose garden?
Japanese garden.
Okay, it's just right up the steps there.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. So yeah, Thorn City Podcast Guys is what allowed me to open up and tap into my purpose of what I'm doing, trying to do, and where I want to go next. And so yeah, the name is like a seed, man, and now it's just growing into a whole full out business, movement, whatever you want to call it. It's something now. So we got the studio. I need a team. It's still only 2 of us on the team, so we're working to change that. It's only 2 of us, so we got the studio, we got the platform, and even though we've been going for a minute, we still at the beginning, it seems sometimes. We've been in the GMP Podcast Group Studios for going on 5 years now. We got about another 1.5 years left, and who knows what happens in this next 1.5 years. I don't know if we want to keep that studio open there. wish we could buy our own spot or get into our own spot. That's the way you really make some money, is you gotta own your own spot instead of paying rent to somebody else. Cause that cuts it to the profit. But you gotta do it. So it's been fun. It's been a journey. I wouldn't trade this grind in for the world with anything or anybody. I refuse to go back and punch a clock. That's why I'm thankful for the gig economy. I can get out here in this trap and do some trapping, hit some licks with the people that need rides, who need food. So that's been good. So I know there's more than just me out here grinding. You might not necessarily be grinding in the gig world like me, but you grinding somehow, and you got your visions and your thoughts and dreams and what you want to do. Let me help make those dreams come true. That's what I do. I take it from nothing and give you something. I've done it a couple of times. It's not easy. It's entrepreneur journey grind. It's not for the weak. I want to give up every other week, but came too far, came too long, man, to be giving up now. That's all I got. If you ever had a nickname that pushed you to level up and get out your comfort zone, get out your own way, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear a story behind it. Stay tuned for more vlogs. Stay tuned for that Meta AI, Thorn City Podcast Guy Vision. Said raw streets, real stories through my vision. Be on the lookout for those shorts, reels, and videos that's coming. Subscribe for more real talk, behind the scenes, and creator journey stories. Real stories, real hustle, real growth. Appreciate y'all riding with me. It's Thorn City Podcast Guy. Holla at your boy.